Going on, guys? So, kind of a disappointing series to talk about. Let's start this out with, man, I don't get some of you Tiger fans out there with all this over needed panic because they dropped 2 or 3 to the Twins. Now, one thing about this team that has irked me all season, when they were underperforming, when they were about 10 games over 500, 8 games over 500, I knew that they were going to hit a stretch this season where everything clicked and their pitching and their hitting would all come together as one, and they would play really good baseball and get where they are right now. And everyone was still, they lost 2 or 3 to this team. Oh, they should have beat this team, man. They lost this game. Blah blah blah. Whine, whine, whine. Cry, cry, cry. But it was useless panic because let's face it, the AL Central isn't a powerhouse. And for all this useless panic that you dropped 2 or 3 to the Twins, but you're still, what, 5 up, 6 up on the Indians and 8 up on the Royals or whatever it is. Who cares right now? I mean, it's not like we're in a tight division race. It's not like the Indians are playing really good baseball because they're not. You know, you're 21 games over 500. I don't get what all this useless panic is about. People are acting like the Indians are nipping at our heels. They're acting like we only got a half game lead, and we're only like 15 games over 500, and the Indians are right there. It's just not. The Tigers played some. They didn't play their best baseball. Game one was Rick Porcello against Mike Pelfrey, and Mike Pelfrey had not done well against the Tigers all year. This start, however, he was actually really good. He got into a couple jams, but he worked out of it, and it was probably one of his best starts he's had all year. Because let's face it, Mike Pelfrey, he sucks. He really does. He has not been good all year, and his numbers reflect that. I mean, his ERA is over 5. His WHIP's almost 1.6. He's 5-10. He's only got 71 strikeouts. I mean, he is atrocious. And he hadn't been good against the Tigers this year. He hadn't made it past 5 1/3 innings every time he's faced the Tigers this year until his last start out. And you got to tip your cap to him. Ricky P did not pitch amazingly great. He showed signs of brilliance, but what are you gonna do? He had, I think, 6 or 7 strikeouts this game, which was good to see. Tigers wasted a lot of scoring chances this game too. They left a lot of runners on base, and they had plenty of chances. In the 8th inning, they had a chance to tie it up, but they wasted chances, and that's just what happens when you don't capitalize. And then game two. This was a weird game, man. I mean, really weird game. Uh, it was a real tightly contested game. It was actually 1-0 Minnesota going into the 7th. And then all of a sudden, the Tigers just had a huge rally. Anibal Sanchez pitched an outstanding game. He went 6 2/3, 1 earned run, 8 strikeouts. And all of a sudden, in the bottom of the 7th, they put up a 4 spot. And in the bottom of the 8th, they put up a 3 spot because they beat up on the back end of the Twins bullpen. And all of a sudden, it was a blowout game in a blink of an eye. I mean, the Twins were dominating this game. It was 1-0. Their pitching was looking good. I mean, they weren't doing anything. The Tigers' offense was just, they weren't hitting runners in scoring position. It looked awful. It looked like we were going to get shut out again. And all of a sudden, boom, 7 runs popped up on the board like that, and they won that game. And it was a fun game to watch. Jose Veras came out and got his 20th save of the year. And then game 3, Tigers lose this one. After they battled back, they were down 6-2 at one point. Justin Verlander did not pitch good again, but they battled back. They had tied it thanks to an Austin Jackson 3-run shot. And I guess there's a lot of controversy in this game because Austin Jackson played a ball that people said he should have dived on. And now, Torrey Hunter, I read on MLive after the game, that Torrey Hunter said it was not Austin Jackson's fault. Now, Torrey Hunter, he's a 9-time Gold Glover. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to playing center field. He said that the ball it was knuckling really bad in the air. That's why you saw Jackson take such an odd route to the ball, because it was knuckling in the air. Now, I didn't see the play live, but Dan Dickerson and Jim Price both said, because I was listening to it as it happened, that ball was knuckling in the air and it was moving really, really weird, like how it was moving, and that's what caused Jackson. A lot of people said he should have dived. Austin Jackson, he never dives. I've seen him dive maybe 1 or 2 times ever for a ball. But Torrey Hunter said it wasn't Austin Jackson's fault, and I'm going to listen to what Torrey Hunter says. I mean, the guy has 9 Gold Gloves on his mantle. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to playing center field. And he was in right field watching it happen, and he says the way the ball was moving is what messed up Jackson. I'm going to believe him. So I'll give Jackson the benefit of the doubt on that one. But the ball that he had let drop ended up scoring the go-ahead run, and the Tigers couldn't do anything about it. And then they lost the third game of the series and ended up dropping 2 or 3 to the Twins. And after that game, it caused a bunch of panic. Everyone, oh my God, they lost 2 or 3 to the Twins. We can't beat the Twins. How are you going to go in the playoffs? And blah, blah, blah. And, watch out for the Indians now because we lost to the Twins. And, this series sucked. But yet they came back from a 6-0 deficit against the Twins. And, I just don't get all this useless panic. I mean, you cannot please this fan base. They want it. All fans. This is for every fan base. All these fans want to see nothing but what we had before, a 12-game win streak, and it just doesn't work like that. I'm sorry, it just does not work like that. And when they're not winning every single game, you get all this useless panic from moronic fans. And I mean, it's just stupid. It really is. And I'm sick of listening to all these people whine and complain, and they're never happy. You got a team that's in first place heading into the playoffs again, dominating their division, got a good lead, and you're still going to cry because they lose a series? Come on now. I mean, people are just whiny little babies. So we go to New York for a quick 3-game road trip before we come back home. And we play the Mets, and tonight is Dougie Fresh against Daisuke Matsuzaka, who I believe is making his Major League debut, but his 2013 debut, because he didn't pitch any games with the Indians, even though he signed with them earlier in this offseason. If the Tigers don't beat Daisuke Matsuzaka's ass, I'm going to be kind of pissed. If he comes out and throws a gem, I am going to be kind of mad at that, because Daisuke sucks. He walks everyone. And then Game 2, man, what a Game 2 watch. Max Scherzer up against Matt Harvey. My goodness. Have your DVRs ready, because that is going to be one hell of a matchup. And Game 3 is Dylan G, who's been pretty damn good against Ricky P to end the quick homestand, or the 3-game set before we head back home. And G on the year is 9-8, 3.60 ERA, 1.3 WHIP. So him and Porcello, from a win standpoint, are right about the same. From a whip standpoint, right about the same. And from a strikeout standpoint, right about the same. Just G that has a lower ERA. So it's going to be a pretty even matchup for those two guys on the bump. And it's an exciting matchup. So all I got to say, you guys, is one more thing I want to talk about. You people, some of these people I argue with on these Tiger Facebook pages, all they sit here is they're trying to sit here and talk about Max Scherzer and how wins are a great stat, and that's why he should be the Cy Young. And trying to talk about Anibal Sanchez and how he averages 6.5 runs a game, but yet he has less wins than Scherzer and lower ERA. Here's why that is. He may get 6.5 runs a game, but that's his average. How many of those starts did Anibal Sanchez get 8-9 runs, which skewed the actual amount of runs he gets per game? I could go on his game logs right now and tell you how many starts he has gotten only 1 run of support and got a no decision or a loss. There's been a lot of starts for Anibal. I mean, that start in Cleveland. Strikes out 11, he gets a no decision. His last start, he gives a 1 earned run, he gets a no decision. I mean, it's all it is. And for people to sit here and say because he doesn't have a lot of wins, he's not doing good, I mean, come on. That's just the stupid. Wins are the stupidest stat to base on a pitcher. If I was 24-5 like Justin Verlander and I had an ERA touching 5, my WHIP was 1.4, would I get the Cy Young over the guy who was 13-8 and had a WHIP of sub 1 and an ERA sub 2 because I have 24 wins? No. Wins are a product of run support, and that's it. You were out there long enough to get the win, and your offense supported you just enough to get the win, and your bullpen didn't blow it. And if someone tried to tell me wins are good, showing how good you are of going deep into games, that doesn't even make sense. Wins show you can pitch 5 fucking innings and get a win. So you go out there 30 times a year. How many you go out there? Let's say you go out there 32 times in a year, okay? And you pitch 5 innings. You can pitch 160 innings. So say you go out there, you get the win every single time, but you only pitched 5 innings every single time. You could be 32-0 by just going 160 innings. That's it. And you're going to try, someone's going to sit there and try to tell me that wins are a good stat to tell you how many innings pitchers have gone? What? Because you have a lot of wins? That doesn't even make sense. I mean, this is my fan base I got to argue baseball with all the time. It doesn't even make fucking sense. I mean, I don't get it. So, people overvalue the win stat for a pitcher. I hate it, honestly, because it doesn't show you anything how good a pitcher truly is. Look at his whip. Look at his walks per nine. Look at his Ks per nine. Look at his ERA. Look at his FIP. There's a lot of other ways to evaluate a pitcher how good he is, but for someone to tell me it's a good way to see how many innings he's gone, to see how well he goes in deep in games, that is just asinine and honestly one of the stupidest things I've ever heard in my life. Because Matt Harvey is going to have maybe 13 wins at the most, 14 wins at the most this season. Clayton Kershaw doesn't even have 14 wins, and he's got the lowest ERA in baseball. And they're all going to go 200 innings plus. So I don't get you in that stupid argument. So wins are a garbage stat. And just because you average 6-point runs a game for Anibal Sanchez, it doesn't mean you're going to get it every time out. Your averages can be heavily skewed by how many run support you have gotten in other starts. That inflates your average is all it is. Because look at Verlander. He gets a lot of average for run support, but he only has, 12 wins. That's because he can't hold a fucking lead after he gets it given to him. So that's all I got for you guys today. Go Tigers.